Hi guys, it's Michelle. Welcome back to my cooking channel. Today I'm going to repeat the roti. I need redemption, so I'm calling this Roti Redemption. I'm making Paratha Roti, so come cook with me in my kitchen. So I adjusted the recipe a little, and I also realized that the flour I used yesterday was still kind of cold from the freezer. Since I live in Miami, sometimes if you leave flour out, you get these little bugs in the flour. As clean as your house is, it happens to everybody here. So I just popped this in the microwave for 30 seconds just to make sure it's not warm or anything. You're not affecting the texture. It's just to make sure that it's actually not cold. So to the 2 cups of flour, I'm putting 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of brown sugar, and half a teaspoon of salt. I'm mixing this up. You want to get it mixed so all the dry ingredients incorporate. This is actually better done with a fork or a whisk, but I'm using my spatula because I don't want to have to keep washing. I love cooking. I love baking. I do not like washing dishes. So usually our rule in the house is the cook doesn't have to wash. It doesn't always happen, especially if I'm with the girls just by ourselves. You know, I can't expect them to wash, but you know, when it does, it's nice. This is just under a cup of water. It's lukewarm, so you want to get that in there so it could combine. And let's just mix that all up. You want to handle this dough as little as possible, which was another thing yesterday. I definitely overmixed the dough. So I don't know if I mentioned in yesterday's video, this is a Paratha Roti. I mean Paratha. And it's one of my favorites. See here, it's coming together nicely. You barely want to handle this. You just want to mix it nicely so it could be mixed, and you don't want to knead it too much. Okay. I think I accidentally put my flour back in the freezer, you know, just out of custom. So I'm gonna have to go get that out. So I'm just barely going to knead the dough, making sure I add a little bit of flour so it doesn't keep sticking. This is nice and soft. This is more like it. This is making me happy. So I'm gonna take this off. I used to watch my grandmother make breads. This is not really, you know, one of those breads that she used to make. And she used to knead and knead, and she asked me to knead the bread for her once, and I thought, man, this must be the strongest lady in the world, because this isn't easy. So, you know, props to all you people that at home that make bread. It is not an easy thing. Okay, so we're done with the initial step. I am going to put a teaspoon of oil to coat the dough. I did not do that yesterday. I also let it sit too long, and I didn't have it properly covered. So what I'm gonna do today, get a paper towel, just gonna clean my hands a little bit. I'm gonna get a clean kitchen towel, and I'm gonna put it on top so it doesn't dry out on me. I'm gonna use a kitchen towel instead of the parchment paper I used yesterday as well, because it keeps the roti warm and it lets it steam itself with the heat of the roti and it gets nice and soft. So we'll be back. I'm gonna leave this. You can let it rest for 15 to 30 minutes. It's very soft. All right. Our dough has rested. So I'm gonna put that to the side. I'm gonna flour my surface and I'm gonna plop the dough down here. I do wanna clean this a little, take out all the crumbly dry pieces if there's any, because we will be resting our paratha roti, not parathi. I'm a little off today again. We'll be resting it there, so we don't want any of those dry pieces to stick. So now I basically just want to get flour all over it so it doesn't stick, and I want to roll it into, as you can see, I want to roll it into a log shape so I can cut it. So let's see, I'm going to cut it into 1, 2, okay. I'm going to cut it into equal portions, somewhat equal portions, and just going to put a little flour over here. I'm going to start working on this. So you might want to just dunk it in the flour, get your rolling pin all nice and floured up. And if there's any portions, you see that stick, you need to get more flour on them, because you don't want your dough sticking to the rolling pin. Now you want to roll this out thin. Like I said yesterday, the thinner it is, the flakier it is. Get that more out of the way. Okay. And this dough's a lot softer than the one I rolled out yesterday. I'm going to bring out my griddle, because you should really do this on a cast iron pan, but I don't have a cast iron pan that's big enough, and the cast iron, the skillet that I do have, the enamel one, is not big either. So plus you shouldn't be using cast iron on the glass top cooking surfaces because it can crack. I do have one of those nice cast iron griddles that goes on top, but I don't want to crack my glass surface. So I'm just going to be using an electric griddle. Let's see, so basically the same concept as yesterday. You're going to put a mixture. You can put butter, you can put coconut oil, you can use ghee, you can use just vegetable oil if you want. I am doing the same mixture as yesterday with butter and with oil. And now I just got a little flour in there, so also flour. So what I didn't show yesterday is how you get the flaky layers. You tuck all this in that you just rolled. This is where the layers come. This is already feeling so much better than yesterday. So you tuck that all in, and when you turn it, it's a little cone, so you want to tuck the top also, and then that's your roti. I'm folding this one a different way. I started doing it on that time-lapse video, but I'm pretty sure it cut it off. So I'm gonna roll it. You may notice that I'm not always rolling them nice and round. At the end of the day, I mean, round roti is beautiful, but if you're just gonna clap them, you know, shred them all up, nobody's gonna notice if it's round or not if you serve it like that. And with this way, the way I rolled it up, if you can't get the, because some people have a hard time with the tucking the layers into themselves, if you can't get that technique mastered, then this one is almost like rolling a cinnamon roll, so it's a lot easier. And I think the square actually, whoops, I got stuck again. The square actually is easier to roll. So I'm gonna keep flouring my dough because you don't want it sticking. This is pretty thin though. It's thinner than yesterday's. And you wanna make sure that the ends are not thick. More so when you're about to cook it than right now, but right now as well. I'm gonna put a little flour here. So I'm gonna use some more of this butter and oil mixture. This gives it good flavor from the butter, and it makes it nice and light and beautiful. Let's see, get all the ends and everything. I've cleaned this counter I don't know how many times since I made them yesterday. You want to make sure you have a clean counter. So instead of cutting it and wrapping it around like a cone and then tucking the layers in, it's easier if you flour your fingers. You roll it up like if you were doing a cinnamon roll or a little log or something. And then you keep going. And then a little more flour for my fingers. Then you roll it like a cinnamon roll. You roll it into itself and you get those layers that you want. There you go. And here, maybe we can roll it in and tuck it in. That's cute. So I'm gonna put some flour in this. You wanna let this rest. Again, minimum of 15 minutes. I'm gonna put it in here with my other ones. Let's put more flour. I don't want them getting stuck to each other. So another 15 minutes and we'll be back to cook our roti. And like I mentioned, I will be cooking it on the griddle. Now I have my pan on medium heat. It's been sitting there for quite some time, so it should be nice and warm. I'm going to grease the bottom of my pan with the same mixture of oil and butter. And I'm going to put this on there. And instead of waiting 2 minutes before I flip it like I was doing it, I'm going to wait approximately 30 seconds per side while I cook. I'll just keep turning it over. And you really need a bigger work surface, but the griddle would have been great, but you know, it's not working. It's fine. And try not to fold the edges over. I'll show you. I folded my edge over here. It's going to take longer to cook because it's folded. But you see, hopefully, I don't know the angle. I'm going to bring you over here. You see how it's bubbling up already. You want 30 seconds to pass which have already happened. So I'm gonna flip this. Let's see how I flip it. Since we're in this saute pan, there we go. Well, that's coming out nicely. Even though I doubled the edges. So let me bring you over here again. You see how it's getting those nice brown bits of color? That's exactly what you want. But you see how it's soft? Not like yesterday's. So I'm going to keep doing this, and I'm going to show you. Let's see if I can get a better angle. Here we go. I'm going to show you after it's cooked how the roti is clapped together. So it can get all nice and flaky. Let's see. So we're going to keep cooking this. It's still on medium heat. This is nowhere near as thick as the cast iron, so you might want to watch the heat. You might want to watch it so it doesn't burn. But it needs to cook a little longer for the edges since they doubled. I mean, I can flatten them out, but it's already too late for that. So now we're going to flip it again after 30 seconds per side. Don't worry if it starts breaking, because once you clap this together, it's going to break apart a little bit. But it's looking great. Definitely looking like real roti. Unlike yesterday's version. So I'm very happy about that. Okay. This should be done now. Just gonna flip it one more time. Oh yeah, those colors look good. I'm going to show you what it looks like. And we are going to clap the roti. My alarm to go get my daughter just interrupted the video, which is fine. Seems to be happening a lot. Okay, so now it's still warm. I put it on our kitchen towel, and I'm gonna, what they say, clap. I'm gonna grab it, it's very hot, and I'm gonna clap it. I'm sure my clapping skills are not as great because I don't have the experience like doing this every day, but look at that. Nice and flaky, nice and soft. Wrap it in your kitchen towel, and you're done. So we're almost done frying this up. Excuse the AC. So I'm gonna hold this with two hands because this pan is bigger. I'm gonna flip it, see how nice this looks. This is the one that I rolled up differently. I just wanted you guys to see it. Comes out the same. And we're done. So I'm gonna taste this because, I mean, it's falling apart. It's supposed to fall apart, and it smells good. It's nice and warm, and it's soft. And I heated up some of, I can't even get it, some of the curry chicken that I made yesterday. And here we go. Okay. I'm satisfied. I have been redeemed. The roti came out super flaky, and it's super soft. This is what real roti should be like, not whatever it was that I made yesterday. If you have a griddle, it'll be easier on the griddle. You saw that I had a hard time with that lip of the pan, but hey, at the end of the day, you do what you gotta do in the kitchen to make your meal, and it's a good one. So I'm gonna go finish this. If you liked this video, please hit like down below, subscribe to my channel for more recipes, and bon appetit.